Welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute, your source of internet marketing inspiration.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Law Firm Marketing Minute. I am your host, John Henson, and this week, wanted to talk to you guys about testing your employees. This is something that we have done in our office. We're going to really start jumping in on this and really using these tests. But it's also something that you can do as part of your hiring process to really give you a good feel as to whether or not a candidate is going to be the right fit for the job. And we're going to talk about a few tests. There's a bunch of them out there, obviously. The Myers-Briggs test, I think is what it is, which gives you like 4 letters, measures like extrovert versus introvert, judgmental versus something another. I don't know. We're not talking about that one today because I feel like most people, if you're into personality tests, you know a lot about that. But we're going to talk about a couple of different ones today that I think really do a better job of sort of illuminating various traits and things that you can expect when it comes to hiring an employee. And the first one that I want to talk to you about is called the Kolbe assessment, Kolbe. This basically is a test that shows you how you take action. All right. And so it's kind of different from standard personality tests, which just it's more about your personality, obviously, but this really goes into how you take action. And one of the ones that it talks about is fact finder versus quick start. And that's such a huge working trait between employees that really demonstrates how people work. And what I mean by that is if, I am a high fact finder on Kolbe. And basically what that means is when I'm given a task, I ask a lot of questions. I try to get as much information about a task as I can before I dive into it, before I try to figure out how to solve a problem. Whereas someone who is a quick start, which is, on the opposite side of that fact finder spectrum there, they get a task, they just jump right in. All right. One of the kind of an analogy that I think about with this is, let's say you're standing in front of 3 doors and the task is go through a door. All right. Me, as a high fact finder, I would be like, well, what's behind each door? What happens if I don't pick the other 2 doors? What happens with those other doors? What happens if I pick the wrong door? What happens if I pick the right door? All these questions. A fast quick start is just you tell them to go open a door, they're just going to bolt right for the door. Doesn't matter if it's the right door. They don't care what's on the other side of the door. They're just going to go through it and then deal with the consequences later. And there are pros and cons to either side. Typically high fact finders take a little bit longer to get started. Maybe they take a little bit longer to finish a project. High quick starts, they get started right away, but maybe there's a lot of errors. Maybe they have to correct a lot of things along the way because they didn't, take the time to kind of analyze something first. So, if those sorts of like deeper psychological things are important to you, the Kolbe assessment is a really good tool. Another one that we've been using a lot more recently is the Strength Finders assessment. The full assessment, I think, is like 55 different traits, and it gives you your top 10, and then it kind of ranks how you score on the other 45. I learned that positivity is my lowest trait, if that tells you anything about me as a person. No, but that's true. But it's a little bit more than just what it says on the surface. I mean, each trait has a good definition and everything, and there are other things like learner, overachiever, stuff like that will tell you more of how a person is, what makes them happy, what sort of validates them, stuff like that, where they get fulfillment. So for example, if you have a high learner strength, you enjoy learning. It's kind of what it sounds like. You enjoy learning different tasks. You enjoy learning how things work. And the more you learn about something, the better you get at it. And that drives you, So yeah, just, stuff like that where that can really tell you a lot about a new hire and how they would approach that job, how they would fit into your company culture, all that kind of stuff. The last one, this one's going to be more, two, I think here. The last couple are going to be more what you can do with your current staff. And that's the Enneagram and the color test. They're both kind of similar in terms of, they kind of show you how each person is, how you can communicate with them better, stuff like that, and that's really important in an office setting, in a small business where, you have just a few people who are in close contact with each other, close communication with each other on a daily basis, and just being able to understand how each person communicates and how each person likes to be communicated with and how each person responds, or the best way people respond to certain communications, that can make your office culture and make your work so much better and make your employees happier if they, have, at least to a degree, some sort of tailored communication. And with the color personality test, especially, you can do a little fun thing with it, where if everyone understands what each color means and how each color communicates, you can put like a little color code on each person's cubicle or door or whatever. So when people come in, and I've heard of businesses that do this, you can see, okay, well, this person's a blue. I got to talk to them this way, or I have to present something this way for, the max result. It's not necessarily you have to do this or anything like that. It's just, if you want the best result out of an interaction or something, this is how you do it. And I feel like I hear some eyes rolling where it's like, oh, we got to cater to every single person's personality. I mean, you don't have to. This isn't some sort of, not to get super political, but it's not like some snowflakey sort of thing here where you're uniquely catering to every single person and having to fully understand them. If that's not your style, you don't have to. But I look at it as a way to maximize efficiency and maximize productivity. You can have a blanket way of doing things. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you've honed that process in. But these are just ways that you can get extra mileage out of it. If you understand that, a certain person responds to, just being validated and congratulated for things, even if it's a small thing, if you know that that's how they respond, then they're going to work harder because they thrive off of that validation. Versus someone who, whatever, a thank you or, being told they're appreciated, it doesn't mean a whole lot. Just kind of stuff like that. It's not that they're a terrible person. It's just like, yeah, I'm just doing my job, but cool. Thanks for thanking me, I guess. I don't know. But some people, that's just how they respond. And so the Enneagram, the color personality test, stuff like that, that's what can really show you what your employees are like and how they function, how their mind works, all that kind of really interesting stuff. And so if you have a psychology background, or if you're just interested in people, especially if you're an extrovert, that kind of stuff is super interesting to you. And so if you haven't explored any of these tests for your employees or for job candidates, highly recommend you do this as part of your hiring process or as just part of your office culture. Is just, order these tests. I mean, Colby, I think, is about $55 a test. I think Strength Finders is around that same thing too. Enneagram, I think you can find them for like $25. So do these, and you'll learn a lot about your employees. I guarantee it. Or if you've already kind of been into these tests, it'll kind of confirm some of the things that you thought about them. So hope that's really helpful for you guys. Obviously, we at Spotlight Branding are a marketing company, but we also just want to be a resource for you guys in any way we can, whether it's, business development, HR, even maybe some finance tips here and there. But that's the sort of thing that we want to help you guys out with. And so thank you all for continuing to listen. Love all the feedback we've been getting. Continue to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and wherever you see this. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. We're posting all that kind of stuff, and make sure you tune in to Center Stage. The second episode is dropping this Wednesday with Maddie Martin from Smith AI, just talking about some tech options that are out there for attorneys that will make your processes more efficient. It's a great episode. You're going to get a lot of good information out of it. And you're going to learn about some apps that are going to probably change the way that your office runs for the better, obviously, in a much more efficient way. So subscribe to Center Stage as well, already on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, coming out on a lot more platforms as well. So definitely check that out, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us. Please visit lawfirmmarketingminute.com for more information. We'll see you next time.